Hi, this is Greg with Walnut Ridge RV. Today we're going to be doing another orientation video today on the Passport, on the GT series. This is a 2400 RV, 2021. So we'll start up here in the front with your power jack. This has got your standard, up and down to get you on and off your truck and to do your front to back leveling. Of course, it does have a manual way of doing it in case something in the jack ever fails. You can pop this cap off and a 3/4 inch socket in there. You'll be able to run it up and down. From there, you have your LP tanks. These are 4.5 gallon or 20-pound LP tanks. Both of them are full. It's time to pick up the delivery from us. Has an auto switch over regulator in the front. So one thing you want to do, you can run it two ways, whichever way you prefer. Would be you can leave both tanks open at all times, and then whichever way this lever is pointing, it'll draw off that lever first. Once that tank is empty, it's got a little gauge in the front that'll go red, and it'll automatically start pulling from the next tank. So if you are running your furnace or something in the cold, you don't want the furnace to shut off, or something of that nature, you could go with that option. If not, you can leave one tank shut, open this one, whichever lever, have it pointing at whichever lever is open, and then once that tank's empty, everything will stop working. And then hey, this tank's empty. I'll rotate the lever over to this one, turn this one on, and now I know I still always have a full tank left, and I can take this one off and go get it filled or replaced, whichever you're doing. One thing you want to make sure is that this lever needs to be in one way or the other. Never put it in the middle. I see that a lot, and that can cause a leak over time. It's not going to cause it to draw from both tanks at the same time. So yeah, that's a common misconception. So always one way or the other with those. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the LP side. You will have a 12-volt battery back here. It's a Marine deep cycle battery. Now that battery will charge anytime you're plugged into the shore power on the trailer or to the 7-way cable. The biggest thing with that is those batteries are not maintenance free. You need to check the water levels in them every 6 months or so. Got little caps on the top, pop them off, make sure that it's filled with distilled water. That can cause overheating, that can cause undercharging. It won't charge at all, so that's something you want to check periodically. Now this unit does come with a battery disconnect here on the distribution box, so you can flip that on and off whenever you're not using it. So if I'm going to go home, park it in the driveway, and it's not going to be plugged in, I want to go ahead and flip that off, and that way the little things that are always drawing amperage from the battery are off. Now that's not going to mean that your battery's not going to be dead here in a few months. That's usually for your short week, week or two trips here. That's going to be sitting. That battery will still drain just sitting on your trailer, even with nothing pulling from it. We get that call a lot, so it doesn't hurt. If it is during storage, take it off, keep it on a trickle charger during the winter and when you're not using it. But for short little week trips here and there, it's going to be sitting in the driveway till next weekend. That usually works pretty well. Now moving around this way, you got a few different things in here. You have your key TV, which is going to be your satellite input and your cable TV. Now this blue wire that's sticking out of here, it's got a capped coax end on it. That can go into the satellite port. The roof has a mount up there that you can mount a satellite to, or basically the connection for this, and that's what this cable is. So if you're using a rooftop mount, you can use this cable. If you're using just a standalone, you can run the cable up and plug it into the satellite or the cable if the park supplies it. From there you have an outside shower, which is simple. Now I've got this called quite a few times, these saying that these don't work. Now there's a blue coil hose that's in the unit, and these are on every unit for a long time. There used to be a sticker around this that said if you can't physically push in the nozzle that goes in here, it's really stiff, you can take a little bit bigger of a Phillips head screwdriver, or a punch if you have a big punch, stick it in there and give it a slight whack with a hammer. That breaks it free in there. And it used to have a tag that hung off these that told you that. So if you ever get that where you can't get it in, most of the time you just really have to force it in there. If not, you can always try the screwdriver idea. Now your jacks are controlled in here. Your front and rear stabilizing jacks are controlled here at the top. Those are not leveling jacks, those are just stabilizers. You want to level the same old way as you used to, front to back with your tongue jack, and then side to side if it's that bad of a spot with leveling bricks or boards. And then you lower your stabilizers down until they touch the ground, they snug up, and you're done. Don't try to force weight on these or try to lift with the trailer. From there you have your city, your black tank flush, sorry. Here, so after you're done dumping your black tank, you can close that valve, wait till it's all the way done, close it, then you can hook up a hose into here, turn it on, and that's going to shoot some water into that tank to help clean it out. Now that's one way to keep your tanks from draining or from either smells and your sensors. That's just one way to help prevent that. Chemicals are a huge thing that are commonly overlooked. Using RV toilet paper is another one. So it's good to chemical your black tank when you're not using it, just as much as you can to help clean that out. From there you have your city and fresh tank connections down here. This is your fresh tank. If you're going somewhere that doesn't have a city water connection, you can fill this tank up here, turn on your pump on the inside, and you'll have a limited water supply, usually 45 to 55 gallons depending on the model. City water is going to be a full hookup. You'll want to run a pressure regulator anytime you're using parks water, because you never know their pressure and you don't want to blow out any lines. So that's what this one's for. Hook it up, turn it on, and go. Unlimited supply for your trip. Of course, this unscrews here so you can run your hoses up, you can actually shut your door. Now you have the Medix water heater, which is Atwood originally. Is a little bit different now. They have just a standard cap that goes on the drain, so you can put that on there when you're ready to use the system. It's still got your pressure relief valve, but other than that, on these there's not much that you have to do on the outside. There's no electric switch on this model, at least, so it's controlled from the inside, which we'll show you when we get in there. From there, let's see, we're going to go around to the other side. Okay, and then back here on the back, there's not too much. You have your shore power, which is 50 amp, and then your tank are underneath. Your tank dumps, so you have a gray and a black. Black's your toilet, gray's going to be your bathroom sink, bathroom sink and shower. And there's also one in the front where we were at earlier, a separate drain by itself. It's for its kitchen sink only. With those, it's always best to dump the black tank first, wait till it's completely finished, then close it, and then do the gray. Now this Passport is prepped with a ladder, which usually means it's got a walk-on roof, which is really nice. You can get up there and check the sealants every couple months like you should be. Sealants aren't really something that's covered by the manufacturer, so that's on the customer or the owner to check your sealants around your lights, around the windows, doors, and stuff like that. Now usually those use seals behind the windows, so usually windows you don't have to worry about. Doesn't hurt to check and make sure there's no big gaps or anything. But if you notice any gaps on the sealant on the roof, cracks or anything, you just use alpha sealants, what Keystone uses. Get you a caulk gun and seal it up. Around the lights and the doors, things like that, that's just plain DAP clear silicone. Moving down here, you do have a mount back here behind the fiberglass that you can use to mount a TV here. Then you have your key TV outputs here, so coax, satellite, whichever you're into. If not, you also have a couple outlets there to plug in your favorite device. You got your furnace output here. Best thing to do is put a mud dauber screen on that to keep bugs from getting in there and build a nest. They can break the squirrel cage and cause all kinds of havoc in there you don't want. Other than that, then we have the big storage up front. This is the sewer hose I was talking about earlier, and that's where you put your stick that into the end. Got a manual crank there, and then of course the light. I'll go ahead and move inside. To the control panel here at the top. Now you have this is going to read your levels in the tanks. It'll tell you your battery level when you're not plugged in, roughly. Your fresh tanks are going to be the drinking water tank up front if you are dry camping. Black one's your toilet. Black 2 is not used on this model, so just forget it. Gray 1 is your bathroom sink shower. Gray 2 is usually your kitchen sink, so you can check those periodically while you're camping. Water heater for gas and electric. Simple as flip the switch on, as long as there's water in there, of course. and after about 35 to 40 minutes it'll heat up and you'll be ready to use it. Water pump if you are using the fresh tank. A porch, ceiling lights, then you have your slide room in and your awning in and out. This one here is a light switch somewhere throughout the unit. Down below that you have your converter. It's got your breakers and fuses in it here. Fuses are 12 volt sides, that's lights, pump, different things like that, slides and everything. So always, if something isn't working, this is the first place I check. You usually want to check to see if there's a light on next to them. That'll show you that, hey, this fuse is blown, replace it. And then once inside the TV, microwave, something like that not working, this is the first place you want to check, make sure a breaker didn't trip, which can happen periodically. In the bathroom, not too much, that's not normal. You have your GFI reset, that'll do all the outlets that are near water, outside, in the kitchen. Toilet's a single foot lever flush. And then what's kind of new for this one, inside these cabinets here, this, even though it's a travel trailer, it's prepped for a washer and dryer, which isn't common, but they still do it on some models, but it's just not something you see most of the time. The washer and dryer is reserved for a fifth wheel, so it's pretty nice to see it in a small Passport like this. It gives you that option to carry a washer and dryer if you'd like. And there you have your TV, which is pretty self-explanatory, fairly easy to use. Got your radio down here, same things, Bluetooth, auxiliary, all that good stuff. You have a fireplace down below. Just got multiple buttons up here that you can do timer. You can change the temperature with the F button. This one will just change your fan speed, lower, high, and then the light bulb will change different lighting in there. And then this one actually pulls out, so you have a little storage back there. So they're trying to maximize as much space as they can. So that's pretty nice. They did on this one. Of course, you got your standard microwave, your hood vents, over the stove, and light. You got your cooktop. These are simple to light it. You just turn it to light, give it a few sparks, and if there's actually propane, it'll light. Now sometimes that takes a little while, so you just have to give it a few clicks. Maybe turn on a second burner to get the gas up to this area. But it's nice that it turns red whenever you turn it, so you know that this is on. You need to check this, make sure you're not just pouring gas into your unit. So I thought that was really cool. And then the same with the oven. You'll turn it to a pilot, hold it in, and then give it a few sparks, and eventually at the back there will be a flame that pops up. Once that happens, keep it held in for a few seconds, and then you can turn it to whatever temperature you want, and the whole bar under there will light up in a flame. So really cool. Of course, sink with the pull down. You've got your thermostat, which is really easy to use. It's got your mode button for fan, AC, furnace, and off. Fan speed, low, high, auto. When you're in furnace, you want to leave it in auto, or if not, the AC will run too, the fan will. And then of course, temp up and down button. And then back here in the back's not too much else. Of course, you can mount another TV over there on the wall. You got the redesigned cabinets and the door pulls that they've done on here, which is pretty nice. You got storage underneath the bed, and then your refrigerator. Last thing, it's just got a standard household refrigerator style in it. Pretty nice and cold. Travel lock for while you're traveling, and then this one's got outlets on this side, USBs on the rear, or below it. So that is the 21 Passport 2400 RB. We'll see you next week.